Hello, welcome to our video where we're going to talk through the Teachable Machine activity for our hurricanes lesson, particularly using images of damage and no damage after Hurricane Harvey and using Teachable Machine in order to do this. Now, we already have a set of videos about Teachable Machine and how to use it, but for this lesson, I wanted to show some more subtle points involving how to upload images to the website as opposed to using the webcam. So on our ImageStream website, we will have links. They might not be in this form, but we will have links for the hurricane damage data set that you want to use. And so when we click this, some of the issues that students might face is how to actually download the data and to get it into the Teachable Machine. For instance, when I download it, it pulls up this in Chrome, it pulls up something here. I'm on a MacBook, so I kind of get this two folders. The archive folder is the one we want, but I usually tell students to come up to this download button. And if you click this download button, it will take you to a site that says that the file is pretty big, but if you click download anyway, it will download a zip file of this images.
And this is going to look a lot different based on what browser you're using and what operating system you're using, if you have Windows or a Chromebook. So just be sure that you practice this beforehand to know what buttons to click.
So you might need to know how to unzip folders in the computing system that the students are using, which might be different for Windows or Mac. So when I installed it and I clicked the button to do the uninstall, I'm going to drag my window over. It opened up a folder called Archive. It will be Archive for you. It's Archive 3 because I've done this a couple times before. But what's in the data is I wonder if I can make this bigger, 3 folders. One is testing, one is training, one is validation. Now basically, neural networks, when you're doing image classification or training an algorithm, it's like any kind of test you give to a student. You want to train the algorithm on images from the training set. That's like the homework or the practice problems. And then you can test the algorithm after it's been trained on the testing set. Now validation is just like a pre-test or something that you might do to test your algorithm before doing the final testing set. But for the sake of this demo, you only need to worry about the training set and the test set. Now, if you go in, I always encourage teachers to look at the images with their students. So if we look in, there's 2 classes, damage and no damage. And we're going to take a look, and you get a series of images. There's 5,000 in total of images to look at. If I double click on one and pull it up, and I'm going to pull it over from my other screen, one of the things that's a little bit difficult about these images is they're not like normal images. These are actually images from a satellite, and so they're very small pixel dimensions, so small pixel resolution, and the features are small. So for instance, this is actually really hard to tell if it's damaged or not, and this is why you need a machine learning algorithm to do it.
Like I can tell there's a pool in there, but I have no idea what flood damage would look like in this case.
Right, and you can try to zoom in to try to see what's happening with different images, and I encourage students to kind of go through and look at some of the data. It's always important when you're training a machine learning algorithm to look at the data. It's one of the first things I tell students, because sometimes you don't even know if you're putting in the right data unless you look at what's going into the factory assembly line or what's going into your machine.
So is this one damaged or no damage?
Well, this is actually damaged, though. It's hard for me to tell, but maybe there's something here going on. Of course, these images were labeled by experts who are used to looking at these images and be able to do that. What we want the neural network or the machine learning algorithm to do is to mimic that behavior and to be able to accurately identify whether an image is damage or no damage. Why would looking at images of damage or no damage be useful in this curriculum or in this particular lesson, Kim?
Because if you are... You mean the students looking at them?
Yeah, the students looking at them.
Right. So in this case, by the way, these are real images from Hurricane Harvey. It's really helpful to show the students, number one, how difficult it is to do as a human process, and then how long it takes for humans to go through and figure out what these images actually are.
And then further, it's also valuable to say, why would you want a machine to do this? Well, maybe you want automated assessment of damage after a hurricane. And the lesson that we have on the website ties damage to the category or the strength of the hurricane, which are important science concepts that fit a lot of national science standards of understanding the strength of the hurricane and what is the damage it can do. And students can speculate on how they could use this automated damage detector in real life.
And the students that we worked with had some really good ideas about possible applications of a system like this.
So after you've got that, you can go to Teachable Machine, clicking the link here. And remember, we have an intro video on Teachable Machine if you want a refresher on that. So I'm going to hit Get Started, and I'm going to do a standard image project. Now, like before, you can label images as damage, or you can label your classes. Let's do no damage. But instead of using the webcam, which is what we've been doing so far, we're going to actually upload images. So if you click the Upload button here, you can actually choose images from your files or drag and drop images. So if you have the folder open, and we're going to go to the damage, and remember to be on the training set, you can pick a set of images to actually drag onto the class, and it will load the sample. You can also click that folder and navigate towards that. We recommend starting out small, maybe 100, 35 to 100, not doing too many to start with, because the full 5,000 can sometimes crash a computer if you're not careful.
Okay, but the first thing the students are going to want to do, all 5,000 of them.
Yes. So, you know, it might be worth curating the data that you give to them if that's the case. But we do find that it's really useful for students to work with that much amount of image data. It's really useful.
And it works. It does. Teachable Machine does have the ability to load all of these images. We watched it happen.
So I'm going to do it a different way for this one. I'm going to actually click this link and go to the folder that I downloaded, training set, and I know this is no damage. Now what here, I'm going to click, and I actually use click and then shift, so I scroll down a little bit, hit shift, and then I would hit open right here to load in those images.
And you got these from the training set folder, not from the testing and not from the validation.
Yes. Now after you've loaded your data, it's like what we do for any other Teachable Machine. We hit train. Remember, this is the part where you have to keep the tab open to let it train. And you can see that our neural network is training right now, so it's adjusting the firings of its connection patterns in order to do pattern recognition. Now it automatically defaults to the webcam, and you know, if we move a little bit away, we can see that it thinks that I'm very damaged. You know, so students have a lot of fun with that. But if you click this drop down here, you can go to File, and you can choose an image to test. Now here's the thing, is that if we go back in our folder to the testing set, I can pick an image at random, and it will evaluate as no damage. So it actually made a mistake.
Was that wrong?
I think I,
yeah,
yes, that was wrong. And we can pick another one. Now we use very few number of images, so that's probably why the model is not working so great. But what we wanted to show, and maybe we'll walk a little bit here. This one is more accurate. It actually identified as damage. You can have the students evaluate maybe 10 images or 20 images and compute what's called the accuracy. How much did it get it right versus how much total images that was to actually evaluate this classifier. So just to recap, what's special about this versus other Teachable Machine is that we're using images from folders we downloaded. We're going to upload those images by the file system as opposed to capturing it through a webcam. And then we test one image at a time to get a result. So this is kind of a short primer on how to do this activity for our hurricanes lesson. Please reach out and feel free if you have any comments, suggestions, feedback on it. And we hope you find this activity, you and your students find this activity a lot of fun.
We did. Thank you.